Mama, I got bad news, bad news. I've been rolling with some bad dudes, bad dudes. I've been trying to get a bag too.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to the Ashes to Awesome podcast, Rising in Recovery. Our podcast provides light, hope, and understanding about addiction and mental health to those living within that life and the people who love them. Today's episode is brought to you by Revolution Recovery, helping men recover and become their best selves through support and treatment. They've been there and they understand. Hello, everybody, watchers, listeners, supporters. Welcome to another episode of the Kaleidoscope Wednesday on the Ashes to Awesome podcast. I'm your host, Chuck LaFLange, and with me in virtual studio, rocking an awesome lumberjack kind of shirt, is Ryan Bathgate. How you doing today, Ryan?
I'm pretty good. I mean, you know, like, the lumberjack shirt is an illusion. I always say I'm a man, like a real boy, you know.
Yeah.
Except for I'm walking around like an 85-year-old because I pulled my groin and my abdominal muscle, which I didn't even know I had any. I guess underneath the layers and layers of comfort, there is actually a muscle.
And I'll bet every single listener right now just flex their abs a little bit underneath their own layers of comfort, right? Myself included, right? I'm like, oh yeah, I got it there. I can feel them. Okay, no, that wasn't that. No, I think that was something I ate earlier, not digesting. I think that's what
if you push in a couple inches, you might. Anyway, so yeah, no, I thought I'd go and play baseball. Haven't played in a few months, and Friday night under the lights, had a great game. Right at the end of the game, I pulled my lower ab strained or some shit. Either way,
uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't play the rest of the tournament. I woke up the next morning like a creaky old wooden door.
No kidding, eh? No kidding.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. If you are young, don't be dumb. Okay,
it's inherent. The two things go together.
I know.
Right?
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite sayings. Youth is wasted on the young. You ever heard that before?
Oh, of course I have. I think I've heard it from you multiple times.
Poster child. I'm a poster child, man.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Right? Yeah. Remember how limber we were back? In
Oh
the day?
man. Like if you think about it, it's like
playing with matches and shoplifting was all that physical of an activity. But let's be honest, right?
Or collecting the Safeway shopping carts for quarters.
The hustle.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I mean, I also didn't think I was going to make it this far, so I didn't ever give a shit. Well, here's the thing. If you're in the school of thought that you're not going to live past 30-something, you probably are. So take your vitamins, stretch. Don't jump off that cliff if you don't have to. You don't have to go head first into everything.
For myself, I was a mover for most of my life, right? So most of my working life. And I still remember them old movers. Don't jump off the truck. Use the walkboards. Blah. And now if you put me on a moving truck and I saw somebody jump off the walkboard, I'd bend them over my knee and spank them for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to, I would do crazy shit. Like I remember carrying dryers by myself out of the house, right? So you use your straps the right way and, because I could. Right, and these old drivers would go, it doesn't matter if you can, you're still an idiot for doing it. Well, I was. I feel every single one of those steps and every single one of those appliances now, right? Every one of the jumps.
Do you know who Ryan Adams is? Not Brian Adams, but Ryan Adams?
No, I was going to say, no, I don't.
No, not like, whatever, Robin Hood. No.
I'm thinking like a cover band, right?
Ryan Adams is, you remember the show Old School?
Yeah. Yep.
That movie, at the very start of it, there's a song, the intro song.
Okay.
It's by Ryan Adams, and it's called When You're Young, I think. And, he's coming down, catching the red eye back from Dallas,
Yep.
And the song says, when you're young, you're dumb, and you get high.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Accurate representation of most of my life. Yeah.
This guy's reading my mail. So, yeah, anyways, stretch, take your vitamins. Get proper sleep. Eat your frickin' vegetables.
Listen to your elders.
Yeah.
It's a lost cause, brother. It's a lost cause.
You're not unique. You're not different.
That's it makes me think. When I was 18, I was really close friends with a guy that was like 28. And just whatever, we worked together in the moving thing. And he used to say, "You're such an idiot. Like the things that come into your mouth, you're an idiot." But I knew everything. Well, 10 years later, we're still really good friends.
Yeah.
So I had a unique perspective because not many people are friends with somebody that much older than themselves in the first place, much less 10 years later.
Yeah.
And we would sit around and talk about what a moron I was at 18. Right? Because I would actually, like, you said this. I'm like, I did not. He's like, no, you totally did. Okay, well, I was an idiot then, wasn't I? Right?
Content for days.
But what's that done to carry on through my life?
Yeah.
At 28, I was still an idiot, but it took me till I was 38 to figure that out. And now at 46, pretty sure at 36 I was a moron, and what's going to happen 10 years from now? Right?
Dude, I was a moron yesterday. Like,
well, obviously, you're walking around like an old man now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't believe it. I woke up at 8 in the morning, and I'm like, I can't move. I had to do the pregnant roll out of bed, which my wife taught me.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, anyway, that's, this is the whole, like, I'm trying to make myself feel like more of a man by wearing lumberjack. I'm going to go cut some
This
kindling.
flannel's going to cover my weakness up.
Nobody will know.
Yeah,
No one will know.
Absolutely.
He's got a beard and lumberjack. It's a man. It's a man.
Well, hey, I'm wearing a toque, quite possibly for the last time.
yeah.
right?
Well,
Is
it
for
cold
the
there?
foreseeable? A little bit. Toque's more about my hair than it is about the cold, right?
Okay.
But, well, no, I guess it is. It's like -1 here now, so yeah, it's pretty cold. Yeah, right.
Shit, I thought it was cold here at 14.
Fuck off, Ryan.
Well, I'll be saying that to you pretty soon, so don't worry.
Right? Yeah, I guess that.
What
So,
am I going to do with all this white sand in my toes? This is so annoying.
Do you know what white sand is?
Yes, I do.
I did have that conversation with you, right?
Yes.
For
I don't know if
benefit.
you do, but I know what white sand is, yes.
It's parrotfish shit.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's great in a bunker in a golf course.
Yeah. There you go. Right.
And so, and then like, oh, my skin's burned from all the hot sun in January. Like, fuck you. So, just preemptive. I'm already resentful.
Yeah. Well, I am going at high season to boot, right? So it's going to be rather nice when I get there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So listen, I wanted to get into something a little more in depth, but maybe I'll just touch down on it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it's just really, it's really a simple navigation tool.
Yeah.
That I think that we
$20
overlook.
words are about to happen. I can just sense them coming. I can see it in you right now. That's okay.
Try.
That's okay.
Well, look, I'm going to make an effort here.
Hey, it's just if you don't use $20 words, I don't have a job.
All right.
Somebody's got to dumb it down, right? That's kind of my thing. So
Okay.
right? Yeah.
So let's take an epistemological perspective.
All right. Okay. Easy now, Fireball. Let's just rein that one back in a little bit.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I said 20, not 100.
we think about I don't know about you, but like I always had an anxiety disorder, different diagnosis of depression, things like that, right? And like I'm wondering about like I was thinking about how originally how we were always looking for the next thing and never appreciating the now, and then I was like, okay, well, what is the now though? Like what does that feel like? And what the now feels like is thoughtless, sensational connection to the earth as it's spinning around the sun.
Okay.
So you have to lose your mind to come to your senses. Okay. In other words, I have to stop thinking in order to feel, in order to make connection to the earth as it's spinning around the sun. That's what we call the now. Okay. It can happen through conversation. It can happen through the medium of connection, whether it be love, joy, shared interests, whatever that might be.
Okay.
But what is it about having an off day that makes it an off day? Mm-hmm. And I'm really
I'm pretty sure I know the answer here, but I'm going to let you kind of continue to explain.
I'd like to hear where you go.
It's about being out of rhythm, and we've talked about this quite a bit.
Yeah, right. So this is exactly where I'm going. Yeah.
And early days of the show is when we really covered this, and I think as our listener base grows and after new listeners and all that, it's important to circle back to some of this stuff to kind of bring everybody up to speed with where we're at, so we're not constantly progressing and leaving.
Yeah, and you know what? And so I'm gonna like earlier we talked about it in much more of a academic way, I guess. Yep. I just want to make it really simple. We are human beings. We are organic in nature. We came about, grew, and through an organic process that had nothing to do with us as human beings. We are
Seeking a path to heal from trauma? Discover Yatra Center in Phuket, Thailand. Yatra specializes in EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, a groundbreaking therapy transforming lives globally. Why choose Yatra? Nestled in the tranquility of Phuket, Thailand, Yatra offers both online outpatient services and immersive residential programs. Their expert therapists ensure that traumatic memories are processed, becoming less intense and more manageable. Research-backed and globally recognized, Yatra's EMDR approach doesn't just ease the pain, it targets the very core, facilitating deep healing. Whether you're at home or at their serene center, Yatra paves your way from trauma to tranquility. Don't let the past overshadow your present. Choose Yatra, transform pain into strength, and step into a brighter future. Visit yatracenter.com and embark on your healing journey.
With us as human beings, we are at really the mercy, if you will, of the organic environment or our world.
And we are absolutely beholden to all of the things, right?
I mean, we're trying. We cloned a goat. We're trying to, like there's efforts scientifically, but and that's not something I want to be messing around with. But here's what I know. I know that when I'm having a good day, I'm in alignment. When I'm in alignment, I'm in rhythm. What else is in rhythm? Rivers, wind, trees, plants, even glaciers moving. Everything organic happens in rhythm.
Yes.
And so we are human beings, and we happen in rhythm. That's the way as we go through life in the moment, we're in rhythm. And so when we find ourselves out of rhythm, if we're paying attention, if we're focusing on what this rhythm thing feels like, because we can't think it, we have to feel it.
Yeah,
and it feels like everything is working together, and I'm in concert with both everyone in my world and everything in my world. Yes. When I'm out of rhythm, it's like, if I'm paying attention, it's like somebody stopped the record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so,
I think paying attention, though, that's into itself is an art, right? To really understand, right? And we've talked about that with the locating and some different exercises. To
it
do
is
that,
part of the practice of art, the art of living, as I often refer to. And so I know when I'm in rhythm because everything is great and I'm having a great day and everything's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
Now, what is it that takes us out of rhythm? And I think that this is an important thing to note, because when I feel out of rhythm, I almost want to go through the checklist, right? Mm-hmm. So I start with my values, because my values are my identity. My identity is who I am, and it creates alignment. Yeah. So if I'm out of rhythm, chances are I have I've lacked in integrity. Mm-hmm. I have not put my family first. I have not been honest. What else is? I have not been compassionate. Maybe I'm apathetic. Yeah. Which is, apathy is the opposite of empathy. It is to be, to not feel with, to the opposite of that. You know what I mean? So apathy is to not feel at all. It's more, and to me, it's a duvet. Like I told Lisa many moons ago, apathy is not an indictment of character, but it is an indicator of compassion fatigue.
Yeah. And so can be. I don't think that that's necessarily the case all the time. Sometimes apathy is just what it is. It's apathy. You don't.
I've never come across it where I'm not tired.
No, I don't mean you individually. I meant some people, right? I mean, I don't think some people just aren't empathetic, right? For whatever reason, right? And
that's
think not
that
an indictment of them either.
So I disagree.
Okay.
I think that it is an indicator that empathy hasn't been practiced.
Okay.
So I think we all have this. We have the same thing, man. We all have the same sense of feeling. It's our thoughts that have fingerprints. It's not our feelings. We share this pool of emotion.
Okay.
And so when I think we all have this capacity, but I mean, we're not taught emotional intelligence. And so if I have no emotional intelligence, then I'm not going to know whether I'm out of rhythm or not. All I know is that I have anxiety. I've had it for 12 years. Like, that's an indication of a lack of emotional intelligence.
Without a doubt. But that doesn't really speak to some people just aren't empathetic, does it? I mean,
I think here's my point is that we are all designed to be empathetic. I just don't think we practice it. I don't think we're taught it.
Yeah.
And so, I guess the best way to describe this is that human beings are the closest thing I can parody a human experience with is a weather system. That's the closest thing that we are to anything. And that means that we are irrational. We are always in movement, and we're always dependent on our environment to change, shift, and, have different characteristics. And so, when
like
I'm out of rhythm,
than a weather pattern, right?
What's that?
So it sounds like more like a woman than a weather pattern to me.
A human being.
I'm kidding.
I'm not biting into that.
My friends, I don't need Don't send the hate mail, please.
I'm not biting into that apple.
Yeah, I know you're not. Yeah.
So
I got to poke the bear, right?
So I guess what I'm saying is, I mean, if we can, because what happens when we're not paying attention, we go out of rhythm a little bit, and as we carry on, we just our trajectory shifts away from who we are in our essence. And so if I'm paying attention to what rhythm feels like, and all I need to do is like pick up a guitar, do a meditation, draw, paint, any of these things that move our thoughts away from a somatic or a feeling of being in the moment with something, we call focus.
Okay.
So to focus is to be void of thought predominantly, or void of thought impacting or influencing ourselves while our body creates this thing. And I always think like when I go up to bat at baseball, when I'm in rhythm, I'm hitting well. When I'm out of rhythm, when I have a batter's slump, what do? I try to think my way through it.
Okay.
Which is the wrong thing. It's like, where's my hands? Where's my hips clearing? Where are my feet? Am I at the back of the plate? Am I in front of the plate? All these different things. And the reality is I need to just sing a song in my head and let my body do what it already knows how to do.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay. And so the things that we can look for.
Emergency.
A new study out shows there may be gross underreporting of opioid-related deaths.
Canada's opioid crisis, overdose deaths have been caused by a toxic supply of street drugs.
Devastating effects on families and communities across this country. One Canadian dies approximately every 53 minutes to overdose. That's 27 deaths every day and 837 deaths each month. That makes 405% more deaths to overdose than car accidents in 2022. Are you listening now? So who does this affect? Everyone from pro athletes to celebrities to business people and kids. This crisis affects us all, with 77% of overdoses happening in people's homes. So how did we get here?
These drugs were designed to ease pain, but their overuse has caused hundreds of thousands of Canadians to become addicted.
Most addictions begin with prescription opiates, but later shift to unregulated substances like heroin and fentanyl due to availability and cost. This is a huge problem.
The vast majority of overdose deaths are caused by a toxic street drug supply.
The National Overdose Response Service is a 24-hour phone line providing anonymous support for substance users. NORS will co-create safety plans, dispatch EMS, or contact someone to administer naloxone without involving EMS. Please don't use alone. If using in the USA, please call Never Use Alone and download the Brave app.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay, and so the things that we can look for that that would take us out of rhythm are ego.
Yeah,
would be a big one. Fear-based or fear-driven behavior, lack of integrity, a lack of honesty. What else is there? Crippling insecurity. I guess any of those, when those intrinsic resources are decreased. So I'm going to say self-esteem is low, self-worth is low, self-respect is low. I'm probably out of rhythm.
Okay.
And so what do we do to make those things happen? I always go back to my values. My values are always an indicator of where I'm at a rhythm and if I'm accountable, because we know that responsibility is freedom. So accountability is under the responsibility umbrella. So if I am accountable to the value that I have not been following, then I should find myself back into rhythm. For example, Chuck, I don't know, maybe I was arrogant, which happens often with us, and so and
diva-ish, right? But yeah.
Well, like let's take a real life example. Like I was acting in ego, which because I'm a bit of a snob like that. What am I protecting? I don't know. What you think of me, I don't know. But the bottom line is, and you always say it all the time, I always come around, right?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And so the way that's me practicing this in action. I come around because I'm accountable to myself.
Yeah.
And once I'm accountable to that value, which is humility, then I find myself released of that prison that I'm creating that is out of rhythm, and I find myself back in alignment. And there's no trepidation. There's no thought. It's like, yeah, I'm human.
It's funny because I'll toot your horn for a minute. You're probably the only human being that I've ever dealt with consistently that immediately owns something you feel wasn't okay. And it's usually really fast, and you come back and say, hey man, I'm sorry for this. Quite often I haven't taken it personal or in any way, shape, or form. But the fact is that you have felt that way, and you were very quick to come forward and say, hey man, like I'm not happy with the way I handled that situation. So you're definitely practicing what you preach, and kudos to you for that. Right?
I appreciate it. The reality is I don't do that for you.
Yeah, no, and I know that 100%. Right. Yeah.
And a sorry is never for the other person. It's always for me and my sense of intrinsic freedom.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I'm wrong and I don't be accountable to it, I've created oppression within my own life world.
Yeah.
The walls get smaller. Every time I lie or something, another layer of paint goes in that, and the room gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And so really, like, we know what it feels like to feel in rhythm once you felt it. You know it. There's a knowing. It's it. And now, how do I maintain that? Well, you can't all the time because we're human beings. We're fallible. It's part of the characteristics of being human, which is to be fallible. If we weren't, we would be divine or whatever you want to call that. And we would be beyond this world and making millions of dollars on Ricky Lake or Geraldo or whatever. So I don't even know what's out there anymore.
Oh my God, we just dated ourselves.
Yeah.
Geraldo, right? There isn't a single person who would be young enough to be one of our children that knows who Geraldo is. I barely know who he is.
Sally, right? Jesse, Raphael.
Oh yeah, damn straight. Or Donahue, right? Absolutely, right. Those were all sitting around watching Silver Spoons, I guess, back then, and Family Ties before things got shaky in Mikey's world, right? Right?
Yeah. Isn't that what was it? Was it Valerie's Family? That was where Jason Bateman came from.
From which show?
Valerie's Family. And then they turned it because Valerie ended up dying in real life, so they changed it to the Hogan Family, and that was that's where
I didn't know that.
Bateman started, and his sister was in the one with Michael J. Fox, Justine Bateman.
Oh, I didn't realize. See, all that. Like we could never keep up. I'd name that tune, I'd get my ass kicked every time I tried.
I have a memory for the dumbest shit. I can't remember anything important, but I can tell you all about anything that isn't.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I guess my point is like we have the capacity to find ourselves back in rhythm at any time, as long as we're practicing the sensation of rhythm and how it makes us. Because when we're in rhythm, we're connectable. That's the most important part of that. Yeah. Anything that takes us out of rhythm takes us out of the ability to be connectable, which means we're entering into isolation. Isolation, when it's unattended, calls for maladaptive behavior as a solution.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's when things get ugly and leads to and then
if we're not paying
the listener base purposes anyway, right?
Yeah. And if we're not paying attention,
relapse.
Those compound and compound and compound until there's no other option than the ultimate, which whatever your maladaptive cue is. I mean, for most people that we talk about, it's very explicit, like. A drug addiction or gambling or something like that. It's very explicit. We know. I took a lot of cocaine and now I'm addicted to that. I mean, that's very explicit. What about the people that are being celebrated for their maladaptive behaviors?
Yeah, right.
Salesman of the year hasn't been home in 5 days. Doesn't know his kid's birthday.
Yeah,
but his numbers are great. You know what I mean? And that the unfortunate part of that is that person's never going to get the help they need because they'll never know that there's a problem until, they're having to take their son to rehab.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Or to come and see a counselor like me.
Yeah, right.
So that's my little spiel on rhythm, and I'd like to pull a thread on that one of these days, but seeing as how we are under the microscope for time here a little bit.
Yeah, we are so.
I'll just kind of leave it.
That's one of those topics that we could. There's a series there if we really wanted there to be. Most certainly a couple episodes worth, right? I mean, it's you talking, so we could go on for 6 hours about anything, right? But I mean, that was love.
You know what?
I mean, that was love.
Listeners,
so,
if you guys want to hear more about rhythm, please write or email or whatever.
Let us know.
There's a lot there, and to be honest, I'll tell you, like. you know, as original as I want to sound, nothing I say is original. It's my perception of some theory that I read somewhere along the lines. This one specifically is a talk from Alan Watts about squiggles and goo, he called it, and it's about how everything organic in the world does not have a straight line or a right angle. Everything is either squiggles and goo. And that everything organic works in a rhythmic fashion. And he talks about to live life like we were dancing. Because dancing, you dance to dance for the joy of dancing. Yeah. If we're doing it for any other reason, then we're robbing ourselves of the joy of that. And dancing is about rhythm. It doesn't matter how we move. It just matters about the expression. And there is no destination.
I'm pretty bad dancer,
to dance.
So I don't know.
You don't dance to get somewhere. You don't dance to win something. Some people do, but then it's not really the joy of dancing. And so, and he talks about jazz. Jazz has no rules. Jazz is all over the place, and that's the way that you know I want to live my life, is to live my life in a way that is not restricted by rational thinking or somebody's concept of what my life should be. I use the should rabbit ears.
Should's a shit word. Yes.
Should is a shame word. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I hear that word, my question is, according to who?
Yeah.
Like, you should have done this. According to who?
Yeah.
Because according to me, I did it the way I wanted to.
Right. Yeah.
So get mad.
My trigger word is just. Just gets me riled. It gets me going hard, man. Yeah. All the time.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. But the episode I recorded with Chantel Huell for the Weekend Ramble, which, by the way, celebrated my 1 year in sobriety on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Hey, congratulations.
Thank you for that. Yeah. As much shit as I talk about not counting days, right? I tell you what.
Honestly.
It mattered all of a sudden, you know.
First year's a big deal, let's be honest.
Yes, it is. So anyway, Chantel, she said, maybe you should just educate yourself. To which I replied, you're a better person than I, because often it's maybe you should just punch yourself in the face. Right. I get pretty wound up about, you know, well, you just need to do this to get over your trauma, or you just need to not do drugs, or you just need to, never thought about that. I never considered about just dealing with it and facing my trauma. I never even considered that before. You should just piss off, right?
So maybe I'm going to get you a green T-shirt that says, just say no.
Why not?
Why not? Nancy Reagan.
I'll rock it. I will. Absolutely. Hey, listen, before we get into the mailbag, Ryan, I do want to take a quick minute to be a little bit shameless and talk about my GoFundMe thing that I got going on for Thailand real quick. It's a delicate thing to talk about here now in that I'll just call it the way it is. One of the people that has been sponsoring me quite generously since the early days of the show has run out of money. I just lost 30% of my funding in a month. Right. And I didn't have much to start with. I'm going to Thailand. I've got a GoFundMe thing going on. It'll be in the show notes. It's on the Facebook page. I hate asking for money, guys. I really, really do. But if you could, like anything, $5, $25, $100 to change my life. You know, everybody that donates anything will get a mention on the show, of course. And you'd be making all the difference in the world. I'm going over there to address my traumas. I'm going over there to live in a place that is sustainable, so I don't have to constantly rely on my family and that for help every month. And because of the cost of living. So I'll be able to spread the message, and you know, every dollar helps to maintain that and to sustain what we're trying to do, because I can't now, there's no way I could do this full time if I stayed. The problem with that is I can't imagine myself doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't. You know, my heart is in this 100%. Right? So, you know, right. So it's important to me that I keep doing this work. So if you guys can help out, you know, every dollar counts. With that said, I should make a couple mentions. Dr. Lisa's family made a sizable donation right off the bat. My old employer in Saskatchewan, Terry Simonson from Jay's Transportation, donated. He made a nice little chunk as well. And I'll tell you what, that one was really cool for me. I messaged him to say, hey, listen, the last days of my employment with you, I wasn't on my best behavior. I won't get into specifics because I'd rather not put into text anything that, you know, but I don't know that I need to. I think you probably know what behavior happened, you know, in my absence. Yeah. And I said, I want you to know that I've always looked up to you, and I'd really do it if I could go back in time, but I can't. Here I am celebrating a year sober in a couple of days and leaving for Thailand. And that making amends shit, there's something to that. Whatever your thoughts are on 12-step and making amends is awesome. It's so freeing, you know.
I do have thoughts on that specific step.
Let's hear them. Yeah.
So you're talking about step 9.
Yep.
That is one of the few that I completely agree with. I just wish it was articulated in a better fashion than it has been traditionally.
Okay.
Step 9 is specifically about shedding the label of victim.
Yep.
Everything about that step is about freedom. And there's no coincidence, and I'm going to get into... Don't tell anybody. But as soon as you read the promises, right after that, you go into step 10. In the second paragraph, I believe it's page 64, it says, you have now entered the realm of the spirit. In other words, you are now free of the prison you've created through your own victimhood or victimization, and are now and now have found accountability, and accountability is freedom. It's an existential premise. So you can start to grow, find yourself, and find out who you are once you've been accountable to the things in the past. And that's why we don't say sorry. We say things like, I want to honor you by this drastic change. They use the word amendment, which is to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I used to, I would say that, I'd like to honor you in this change in my life for the rest of my life. And every time that this change happens, I will think of you, and you'll be a part of that. And it's unfortunate that you had to go through what I put you through to get here, but no, it's not for nothing. And that has created a greater human being in my life. And for those that are affected by me or attracted to me, it's because of these things. I had to find out that the shit I went through was actually fertilizer for the beautiful flower that's been created.
Right. Fuck. It's been a while since you've done that to me, buddy. Yeah. Oh my.
I must be getting boring.
No. You know what? I started thinking about Mom. That's really right. And I'm going to get to see her here in a few days, and I love seeing her. I love seeing her because I can look her in the eye.
Yeah.
Freedom. Man. It's what a difference. What a difference. That is priceless.
Yeah.
After, and I'm not going to go into my whole story. I remember once having to get my brother to pick me up for Mother's Day brunch because there was no way in hell I was going to pull up in a brand new, Tahoe LTZ, whatever I was driving at the time, and have to answer another round of questions. Right? Because family events to me were lying. Christmases were lying. Everything was lying all the fucking time. Right? And everybody knew I was lying, but it was easier for everybody just to kind of roll with that. And my mom's not stupid. Almost one of the furthest from stupid I've ever met. Right? She didn't believe any of that crap. Most of my family didn't. And I knew they didn't. They knew they didn't. We all just kind of played the game because it was easier. Right? But
you don't want to ruin the evening.
Yeah. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Well, I'd like to quote Martin Luther King. From hillside to mountaintop, let freedom ring.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, guys, if you could jump on that GoFundMe, I really would appreciate it. I would. So,
just go fund him.
I mean, also, alternatively, if you want to send an email transfer where they don't collect a bit of it on the GoFundMe, but that's an option as well, and you can just send it to the email address ashesawesomepodcast@gmail.com. It's not an auto deposit, so make it a question that I can answer. Right? Make the answer Ryan. How about that? There we go. So, okay. Listen, let's take a quick break for a public service announcement.
Sure.
And then we can get into the mailbag. How's that sound?
Yep. Sounds good.
Great.
Now, for a quick public service announcement. One of the best ways to reduce stigma is with education. If you still have questions that we haven't answered on today's show, you can learn more about Together We Can's education group at twcrecoverylife.org.
Hi everybody, this is Carl with today's public service announcement about naloxone, or, as it's more commonly known, Narcan, a medication that can help save the life of somebody experiencing an opioid overdose. Did you know that in 2021 opioids were responsible for over 7,000 deaths in Canada and 106,000 deaths in the United States? These numbers are staggering, but there is hope. Narcan is a medication that can reverse the effects of an opioid overdose and help save a life. Narcan is available for free at participating pharmacies and harm reduction centers across Canada, and is also available without a prescription at most pharmacies in the United States. Now, I know most of you won't be around people using opioids, but you never know when it will be around you, and you could save the life of someone who is loved and who loves.
Okay, so we are back from the break. That public service announcement brought to you by TWC, of course, Together We Can. Together We Can is my very, very first sponsor, guys, out in Vancouver, BC, and definitely somebody to recognize. I actually had a conversation with somebody in Ontario last week who was asking about different treatment options, and TWC was one of the ones that they are already considering because of the show. So how that played out, I don't know, but it still remains to be seen. But that felt kind of good to be able to say that to them and have that conversation with them, right?
Well, I can tell you, like, I've known the ED there for years.
Yep.
Stacy, one of the best human beings around, and has always been there for even when I don't need something, he checks in. Like, he's just a really good dude, and
he is right. I mean,
always looking. Yeah, you can't ask for a better
when he
quality.
Started sponsoring this show as my first sponsor. When they started sponsoring the show, there was no big win in it for them. They were doing it to help out, right? And that's you know what, the other thing, I got to talk about if I'm talking about sponsors, is Devin over at Revolution Recovery. Guys, he's got empty beds, which is rare, unheard of, right? And best I can tell, he never said this in so many words, but I think the epidemic has brought on a bunch of money-hungry people who are opening recovery houses that are more profit-driven than they are results-driven, I think it's kind of the impression I got. He didn't say that in so many words.
Here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a comment other than I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
What I can say is that Revolution has the best culture of any place I've been around.
Yes,
I've ever seen or been to. The way that Devin creates a community environment that is just, I want to use the word meshed, although that's typically a negative term, but it's not. It is infused with love and understanding and just acceptance. I don't think I've ever seen anyone go there if they can last a week, they're going to be there for a long time, because they just can't. You can't get away from the heart-touching, explorative culture that he's created there, and so many people get so much out of it. I have the privilege to do some counseling there once a week, and really see how lives change, and it's phenomenal. Even if I won $1 billion, I'd still go and do my sessions there every week, because I absolutely love the work. I love the way that what he does is introduces individuals to not just to who they are, but who they want to be in a simultaneous effort, which is really cool.
Helping men recover and become their best selves, I think, is the tagline.
Yeah, and that's without a doubt, that's 100% accurate.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're in that part of the world, even if you're not in that part of the world, I mean, hey, sometimes a treatment center way the hell away from everybody is the best thing for somebody, right? So
often it is.
Yeah, often it is. So check them out, guys. Check them out. And keeping in mind, Devin was another guy. When he came on as a sponsor, he didn't do it out of any gain for himself at all. He came on to 100% benefit me, and the show, and to help us sustain and spreading the message. So if there's business to be given, consider them, consider TWC, because these are guys that are helping and giving back to the community, right? So
yes, altruism at an all-time high.
Absolutely. So, all right, mailbag. We have Doreen in Cincinnati. Doreen says, what are some of the most significant personal challenges you have faced that led you to seek counseling yourself, and how did those experiences influence your approach to counseling others? Thank you, Doreen, for a great question.
Well, I don't talk about myself a lot on here, as you know. So, first and foremost, I think just coming up underprivileged, especially from an economic status, was difficult, but ultimately 1995, the death of my sister, was definitely a massive impact for me in the rest of my life. It is where I truly felt and understood how loneliness can change the human spirit. The anger that comes with it, to be resentful at somebody that's dead. It seems like a really idiotic thing to do, but I mean, I was so angry at her for leaving me here by myself. For years. And so I was always in some form of counseling as soon as I hit public school in some way or another, and it was really an embarrassing thing, like getting pulled out of class to go see the counselor, and them telling me things like, your parents are drug addicts, and like thanks for letting me know, like really appreciate it. Never understanding what safe meant. And the first time that I felt peace was downing a 2-6 of Southern Comfort.
Southern Comforts. Yeah.
And that's I don't think that's how children should find peace. I think that I want to raise my children in a way that they know peace, because they might experience the opposite of that instead of vice versa. And I think that I was always in fear on some level of either people finding out what was going on in my home, or going home and experiencing what was going on in my home. And in the 80s it was different. Like I don't think there was as much of a lens from the social service or social work perspective, especially in the schools, as there is today. And then I followed a path of trying to be somebody I wasn't, and based on the tools that I had picked up on from on what I'll call unreliable sources. And so, if we looked at what the script was for me, if I were to have lived out that script, it would have been me dying in a jail cell, or in a drug deal or something like that. And this is proof that the future is unwritten, and we have the power to write our own narrative if we choose to bring upon the awareness, and then also go through those difficult processes of trauma integration.
Exactly.
And so those experiences have influenced me. That was part of it, right? About influencing what, my life or my practice. What?
Oh, let me pull it back up here. And how did those experiences influence your approach to counseling others?
Oh, okay. So like, to be honest with you, like, because of all those things, I'm an effective counselor because I can mix life experience with the academic side.
That's right.
So I know what it's like to be in psychosis. And that's a really good. So when I talk about reality construction, if I want someone to understand, if I say, "Have you ever been in psychosis?" When you talk about reality construction, a light goes off. Then they instantly understand what reality construction is. If you've ever done mushrooms or been on acid, you'll understand reality construction, because it's so fractured and augmented when you're under those substances that when life is back to normal and your reality is back to where it is, you've now constructed something that is really within your locus of control, which is obviously perception.
Exactly. Right.
And then also, like, I guess I have an ability to be extremely empathetic to a lot of the experiences that my clients have, because I've been through a version of myself. And I guess the other thing is it forced me into understanding emotional intelligence and the importance of its role, because of the amount of ego that I live with. And ego served me for a long time, and it protected me for a really long time. And so I don't want to discredit that ego actually had an important role. It's just it kind of took too much. It got a little too gluttonous in its throes of power within my own psyche. And so ego is a disconnect. That's the way I look at it. It's a shield, keeps you out. Nothing gets out, nothing gets in. And when nothing gets out and nothing gets in, that means I'm headed to isolation. And isolation, again, leads to the need for maladaptive coping.
Yes.
And so now the other thing is, like, I'm an introvert. I had to learn the difference between alone and lonely, which are two completely different states of being. I love to be alone. When I'm lonely, my life falls apart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So so no, it's my life experiences is what has made me the counselor I am today. The academic side of it, all it did was put a language to it.
Yeah.
That some appreciate, not everybody, clearly. But I will say, my clients have a way stronger lexicon after seeing me than before.
Lexicon is vocabulary for anybody.
Lexicon is vocabulary, yeah. And so because I as you know, I don't believe in dumbing anything down. I would rather use the big word and explain what they mean so that person understands it, and therefore expanding their horizon of understanding, which adds to their access to potential.
Yes, 100%. Right. So,
okay.
Leonard in Montreal. Have we had a Montreal question before? I don't know that we have. Montreal.
I don't know.
Quebec. Yeah. Leonard says, can you tell us more about your approach to counseling and how you create a psychologically safe environment for your clients?
So, my approach to counseling is person-centered, Rogerian, I guess, for those studying counseling. However, Rogers was not enough for me. A little bit too soft, a little too kind for me. The client isn't always right. You know, like their feelings are, but I'm going to offer my challenge where I can to be able to really understand how these realities are created. And phenomenology, which is phenomenology is the study of consciousness, to make it really simple. It's obviously way more complicated than that, but it's the easiest way to open the door with that. So understanding what consciousness is, how it works, and then what is outside of our awareness or beyond consciousness that impacts how we live our day-to-day life. And so when we're using a phenomenological approach, we're looking at what is and what appears and how to expand outside of that, so we can bring, once it's outside of our awareness, we don't have any control, we don't have any idea of what this thing is. And so we want to expand the horizon of understanding, which is called a Gadamerian principle, and then bring that into our reality so we can use it whatever way we want. When it's outside of our awareness, it uses us. Alan Watts, everyday ordinary consciousness leaves out more than it takes in. So from a human perspective, we cannot possibly know everything that's going on in the universe at any given time. And I always say 300 years ago, everyone thought the earth was flat. So that goes to show that there's so much that we have no idea about what's going on in the universe. And when we put it in perspective, and that's another thing about phenomenology, is it puts life in this perspective that we are this little rock infested by humans in the middle of some tiny little solar system in the corner of something we have no idea what it is. Like, how much does it really matter that I missed a credit card payment? It just puts life into perspective. And then I also use existentialism, which is the study of human beings, what it is to be human. And honestly, a lot of it is about returning to the state of human, opposed to the social tapestry, which influences us to believe we are less than, so we try to achieve more and consume more. So low self-worth, low self-esteem, low self-respect, the top three intrinsic resources, equals a consumer.
Yeah.
I will buy things to make myself feel better. Shop therapy, or whatever they call it, you know what I mean? And so
retail therapy.
So I'm like, the permissions is an existential thing. Like, do I give myself permission to not be perfect? Like, that was a huge thing for me. I still suffer from perfectionism, which is a complete distortion. Brene Brown talks about it at length, and she talks about replacing this perfectionism with the striving for excellence, which means that we can strive all we want. Wherever we end up has to be good enough. Where perfectionism is like, if I'm not perfect, then I'm not enough, which is obviously shame-based.
Yes, of course it is.
So those are the main ones. I do a little bit of CBT stuff here and there. I guess motion focused therapy, EFT. There's a lot. I would say I work out of a multitude of modalities, but predominantly the baseline is phenomenology and existentialism.
Okay. I like it.
Oh, there's more to that question. How do I create a safe environment?
Yes.
You know what we want? Do you know the answer to this?
No. Perception?
Nope. Wrong one.
Oh,
wrong four.
To be seen, to be heard, to be loved, and to feel lovable.
Boom.
The most important one, to feel lovable.
To feel lovable, right.
I often say that one. And didn't you add that one? Isn't that one your own?
I add, to be honest with you, those are all mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that I added was perception to the locus of control. That was my mentor, Mike.
Okay.
Right. He's the one that taught me environment, effort, and commitment. And I was like, whoa, but perception, I think, is a big one there that we can control.
Damn straight it is.
So I added that one. But the other four I came up with is to, like, where do I need to feel safe in a relationship? And those are the four things that I feel like I need.
And again, all four are very important. I don't think any are any good without the rest. But I think the hardest one to accomplish is to feel lovable.
Absolutely, because it's intrinsic resources.
Once you accomplish that, the rest just can fall into place.
And that's just about the intrinsic resources. It's about getting your self-esteem, self-worth, self-respect up at a high. And that way I feel like I deserve.
Yeah.
And so, and then the other thing is that, no judgment, active listening, and seeking to understand rather than be understood. Yes. And that's how I love create that one too. Absolutely that safe environment.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. Marie in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. I think we've already kind of touched on this, but hey, I don't want to turn the question back. Ryan, what inspired you to get into the field of counseling? Thank you, Marie.
It kind of found me.
Okay.
I've always been somebody people talk to on some level that people feel like they can be vulnerable with. It's always been something. I don't know. I don't know why that is.
I think I can relate on that. Not to put myself in, to compare or whatever. Or
and then I went and saw a career counselor, and she said, define success for me. And this is one of the moments that changed my life. Was I realized that I was reverbing everything that I've been told. In other words, I was living a life that was told I should live instead of making the choice, which acts as a freedom, to live the life that I want to live. And so it was kind of like the original answer was a writer, and I wanted to be a writer. And consequently, I'm writing a book right now, so both things are coming to fruition. And then the other thing was I really enjoy authentic connection with other human beings, and that's what counseling offered me. So, I know that. And I guess the other big part was like I thought about like, man, I've really lived this life, and from the outside looking in, from a social value perspective, I've lived a really shitty life. Not a shitty life. I've lived outside the lines most of my life. I've done a lot of things that, illegal or unethical or whatever. And I thought, well, this is about the only thing I can think of that I can actually use all the really shitty things I've done in my life and use them to help other people. Yeah. And so I could take this life that is not desirable and turn it into something that can match somebody else's undesirable life. And now they're not alone in it.
Yes.
Because I understand. I've been there, done that. You know what I mean? Like, they're talking to somebody that understands from an emotional perspective what they were going through. And so, that really influenced me to go down this road. And the other thing is, like, talk about rhythm. As soon as I made the phone call to go back to school, everything took care of itself. It was just like, it was like life was waiting for me to make that call to get into school.
Okay. Yep.
And then boom, as soon as I got out of school, I met my mentor, and then he taught me all of these things. And then I got my own treatment floor, and then I learned so much from that, and I became a manager, and it's just on and on and on it went, and everything just became easy as soon as I figured out what I was put on the earth to do.
Okay. Yep.
So that's
it's a good answer. It's a really good answer.
Snapshot, anyway. Lots to that.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, of course there is. Like I said, brings us to my favorite part of the show, and that's the daily gratitudes. Today's Daily Gratitudes are brought to you by Yatra Treatment Centers in Phuket, Thailand. They are a clinic run by clinicians, not a business run by businessmen. And they know that where addiction is the smoke, trauma is the fire. Learn more at yatracenters.com. That's YATRACENTRE.com. And now here's your Daily Gratitudes. What you got for us today, right?
Oh, my beautiful wife and 2 children. Yeah. I mean, I was watching a movie on the weekend about a guy and his daughter.
Yeah.
And I swear I lost 15 pounds in tears. Like, you know, like, I don't know what happened to me that turned me into such a softie.
John Q. Watch John Q.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like 10 minutes in, that's it. Right? 10 minutes in, I don't care who you are, man. If you're not crying, then we're not going to be friends. Because
total leaker.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean, I love them, and they, you know, I work really hard for our family, and I know that they appreciate that, and I feel appreciated, and I know they're proud of this and what they do. Mackie always shows her friends on YouTube. My daddy's on YouTube, which
makes my heart happy.
Yeah, totally. And so, and then I'm gonna say, I'm grateful for good health, which I don't know I have. I'm pulling ab muscles that I didn't even know I had.
Everything's relative, right? Everything's
relative. But you know, on the other side of that is that, like, I played a really good game of baseball. I was fast. I was quick. I hit the ball hard, which goes to show this last year of working out trying to get there every day has really started to pay off, and for the reasons that I want to, which is less about the cosmetics and more about being 45 and able to get up on a water ski again or play baseball.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So I'm grateful for health, and I'm grateful for a lot of information in the world about how to live a healthier lifestyle.
Cool. Yeah. Myself.
One more.
Go ahead.
I'm grateful for my homeboy Devo.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. And Revolution, and talking about this today, I just realized I've been counseling there for 7 years now or something, and all of the amazing turnarounds I've witnessed in people's lives, and you know, a lot of them I still talk to today, whether I see them therapeutically still or we just keep in contact. It's truly been a gift, and it goes well beyond the reasons I thought I got into this for, and certainly has nothing to do with whatever compensation I get for that. The compensation I get from that is people getting their degrees and having kids and getting married and living their lives and finding out who they are and not being afraid of the world, you know. And so, and I can thank Devin specifically for that. He got me that gig when I couldn't afford my mortgage, when I bought a house I can't afford because I live in the Lower Mainland, and he really went over and above to make sure that I was okay. And now I'm in a place that I am, and I still go there every week because I love Devo. I have a great deal of respect for him and what he does, and I especially love the guys in the house.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So again, and you know, we said it earlier, there's room there. That's a rare thing. So if somebody in your life, or if you need the help, what a great place to get the help.
Excellent place.
So,
there isn't any better in my opinion.
No. And well, and your opinion holds some weight in my mind. Hey, listen, and for myself, I'm thankful for a year, man. You know, like it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thankful for a year. I'm thankful for my mother. I am thankful for every single donation I've received. Today, since we've been recording, Tammy and Dan Preston from Brockville, Ontario, Tammy, of course, contributes to the blog every week.
Yeah.
Well, not every week. I just submitted another post while we've been talking as well. And Dan is going to be coming on the show. I record with him a couple days from now, so he'll be on later on this week. Finally, you've actually talked to Tammy in the past.
Yeah.
Right? She's one of her daughters still in it, right? So her husband's going to come on the show and record with him in 2 days' time from now.
Very
so he'll probably be on for Friday, Thursday or Friday. I'll release that episode. I'm really excited for that. Oh, most certainly I will. Right.
Great.
So they've just made a donation. Attic J, my co-host, has made a donation just this afternoon here as well. So, you know,
awesome.
for that, I'm really thankful, guys. Thank you. Right. Hey, listen, and the other way you can help out is by liking, sharing, commenting on any one of the platforms. You can leave a voicemail on the website. I keep forgetting to mention that, but it is absolutely a thing you can do. Just come to the website, hit that leave voicemail button under the Contact Us page, and leave me a voicemail.
Yeah.
Whether it's a question for Ryan, whether it's a comment about the show, whether it's to tell me that I'm too damn ugly to be doing video episodes. I don't care. Leave a voicemail. I'm happy for that. If you're on the YouTube, smash the subscribe button, please. You know, they love to see those things. Anytime you do any one of these things, you're getting me a little bit closer to living my best life. Of course, my best life would be to continue making a humble living, spreading the message. The message is this. If you're in active addiction right now, today could be the day. Today could be the day that you start a journey of a lifetime. Reach out to a friend, reach out to a family member, call into detox, go to a meeting. I don't care what you got to do, just do it, because it is so much better than the alternative. And if you have a loved one who is suffering in addiction right now, you're just taking the time to listen to us go on and on. You just take another minute and message that person, let them know they're loved. Use the words,
"You are loved."
because that little glimmer of hope just might be the thing that brings them back. Done.
All right.
Yeah.
My body's getting cold, my life is running low. Feel me falling, my life is running out. I pray I make it now, but if I don't, it will be okay. I'll find you another day, and I'm not scared to go. It will be okay. I'll find you another way, and I'm not scared to go, because when I die, I'll be happier in another life. I'll be a ladybug soaring through the sky. Please search for me, please find me. So please don't cry when I land on your arms, spread my wings and fly. So please don't cry. Spread my wings and fly.